how
Right.
did you decide that, okay, I'm going to choose this profession, number one, and number two, I'm not only going to be an employee for lifetime with someone, but I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start my own thing. So was it pre-decided or did it just evolve with time?
No. Wasn't pre-decided, of course. In high school, I was interested to learn about stock markets, but I didn't ever think that I would pursue a career in it. It was just something interested to learn about. Um, but I think uh, I had decided, but if I want to be an entrepreneur or not. Well, when I was a kid and I was playing Lego and everything, I always thought that someday I will end up, building things for people. That didn't work out, of course, because of my hatred to science and physics.
Mhm,
Hatred, but just I think I wasn't good at those subjects. But
mhm,
other than that, I'd say that it's to do with my past. My dad was an entrepreneur, and he had it good for a decade or so, but then he ran into trouble in the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis of the late
mhm,
1990s. And so in high
mhm,
school, when I did drop science, I wanted to understand those factors which affected my father and his business, because not too many people are aware that in the mid and late 90s, real estate prices crashed by like 50% in India, and the banks who had
yeah,
loaned money to real estate developers, uh, I mean, they went into panic zone and started to, you know, foreclose loans and that type of thing. So yeah,
mhm,
when I was growing up as a kid, I wanted to understand the concept of a floating interest rate loan, because that was something that
mhm,
was quite fascinating to me. Because I always thought that
mhm,
if you take a loan at say 10%, it is going to remain 10% for the entire duration of the loan. Turns out that
mhm.
it doesn't, right? Because it changes with the interest rates in the economy. And I was a child and I didn't really understand that. So I think that really made me super curious to learn about the economy. And then that led me to the stock markets and so on. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So in short, I guess one thing's led to the other, and finally, that's how led to take. That's how you took a final decision that yes, I have to pursue my career in this field, and also I have to be an entrepreneur. But before starting FYERS, I guess you've worked with Zerodha, and you've also worked with a London-based proprietary trading firm. So, did these experiences help you to start your own broking firm? What were the key takeaways while you were in employment with these entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so my first job was at Zerodha. I just finished my postgrad in finance. And while my classmates have all, I mean, they had jobs at MNCs, I chose to come back to Bangalore. This was in New Delhi. Came back from there,
Mhm,
and I wanted to work at a startup. Not a startup per se, but I wanted to be in the stockbroking or stock markets field.
mhm, mhm.
And I did get selected at various brokerages, but I guess I just, I mean, it happened with Zerodha. That was my first job. And over there, I realized that uh, there is a huge gap between what traders want and what the brokers are able to provide. Back in
Mm,
2010, right, it was stockbroking was not cool, number one. And
correct.
secondly, technology was trading technology in particular was very rudimentary.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, there were no trading apps. There were no web apps on which one could
True,
trade on.
true.
There was this total absence of any kind of data analytics or useful information for traders. So traders would essentially take their decisions based on price action. And
Mhm,
so that's what I learned there. But when I quit there in a short space of time, because I wanted to be a trader, right? I went on
mhm.
and pursued a career as a prop trader at Futures First. And I think my
Okay,
entire perspective changed over there
okay.
because there I understood the difference between how professionals approach trading and how retail traders approach trading. And
Okay.
yeah, so I understood that eventually retail traders will evolve. They want to. It's just that nobody is catering to their requirements as much. So that has
True.
to happen to some extent. And so since the demand is there, the way to fulfill it is by building products.
So I guess you got that feeling that yes, there's quite a bit of requirement of nice products in the market, especially for the retailers. That if they are guided properly with good products, then they can perform much better in the stock market, even as traders. So can I say that was your trigger point to move out from a fixed salary job to starting your own entrepreneurship and to starting your own firm? Was that a trigger point, that need that you smelled? Did that lead you to take the decision from shifting from that comfort of you're getting salary credited every month to going to a fluctuating income? Was that so, or were there few other triggers as well?
No, no, I just feel like I like to create things from scratch. I've always felt
Okay.
this way about myself. I think being creative comes to me naturally, and any environment that like boxes me up makes me uncomfortable. So I kind of knew that I had to pursue something that will allow me to uh, express my creativity to some extent. But then,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, speaking of salaries and the comforts of a fixed salary, I mean, I first got my job at Zerodha and I was being paid 15,000 rupees a month. Right? My
Mm-hmm.
classmates were placed at much better companies, but I chose this path. So my first job paid me 15,000 rupees and it was located on the other end of the city. So I literally had to travel an hour, hour and a half in peak hours of traffic. And one third of my salary was spent on fuel. So it wasn't all that comfortable, so to speak. But, well, yeah. No, I mean, the trigger point happened like much before my first job. I always knew uh, that I was made to do something, pursue something on my own.